thought it was a dream.
Moana is the story of a young islander discovering the world beyond her home and saving it in the process. Despite having no experience beyond the shores of Motunui, Moana sets sail at the behest of the ocean, an ancient entity who has searched for centuries for the perfect person to save a scorned goddess from herself. It's clear from the opening sequence of the film that Moana has a connection to the ocean unlike any other. The ocean is a friend unlike any other, and Moana wouldn't have succeeded in saving her people without its help. In today's video, I'll discuss the unique relationship Moana has with the ocean and where it stems from.
There you are, Moana. What are you doing? You scared me.
What? I want to go back.
I know. But you don't go out there. It's dangerous.
Number 1. Tala's legacy. The ocean was the first sentient creature to roam the earth. When Te Fiti later arrived as the first island, created more shortly after, the ocean served as the one thing connecting all life. Unfortunately, darkness fell over humanity when Te Fiti lost her heart, causing destruction and death to spread across the world. The people of Motunui experience this firsthand, when their fish begin to disappear but they can't sail beyond their island's reef due to life-threatening currents and waves. Many believe that the ocean would choose someone worthy of restoring Te Fiti's heart to save them from this looming darkness, but as centuries passed, the belief turned into fairy tale and superstition. While many believed the ocean would never find their savior, Moana's grandmother Tala kept the hope alive. Throughout her life, she would share the history of her people with each generation, teaching the young islanders about their gods, including the scorned Te Fiti. Naturally, Moana grew up with these stories, and despite discouragement from her parents, Moana learned to trust her grandmother above all else. In return, Tala encouraged Moana to follow her heart and pursue her connection with the ocean. As Tala was the only one who believed in the ocean helping restore Te Fiti's heart, it's possible that the entity felt drawn to Tala and Motunui. In her old age, it's unlikely that Tala would have survived the journey to save the goddess, so the ocean may have wanted a descendant of Tala and the prominent wayfinders to rise to the challenge. Since Tala's son, Chief Tui, grew up to have a general distrust of the ocean, the duty would fall on his more curious and trusting daughter, Moana. In choosing Moana as the one destined to restore Te Fiti, in a way, the ocean helped Moana live up to her grandmother's expectation and legacy.
Chasing away our fish, draining the life from island after island.
Number 2. The Wayfinding People. While we know very little about the other civilizations in Moana, the films have dedicated significant time explaining the culture of Motunui. Most notably, their people were notable wayfinders who would go on long expeditions in search of new villages, land, and other worthwhile discoveries. However, a series of unfortunate events led the last great wayfinders to die out, as their descendants sequestered themselves to a life of isolation on Motunui. Moana is the first wayfinder from Motunui in generations, and she dedicates her life to finishing what they started. While she retired her boat from the first film, she receives one of her own, which is better suited for long journeys. She knows how important it is to reconnect civilization, and this understanding is likely why her ancestors, such as Tautai Vesa, reached out to her. The former wayfinders watch out for Moana throughout her adventures, and if they need to reach her, they do so by traveling through the ocean. The wayfinding people seem to have a connection to the ocean, even after death. While most would assume they would find an afterlife, perhaps adjacent to the land of the gods, Moana's ancestors remain in the living world with different forms. All of Moana's ancestors become sea creatures and spend their afterlife within the ocean. Her grandmother Tala becomes a manta ray, while Tautai Vesa is a massive whale shark. Had Moana not become a demigod, she would have received a new form herself and spent the rest of her life traversing the ocean's depths. Number 3. Moana's name. While a minor detail, Moana's name felt worth mentioning when examining her relationship with the ocean. In many Polynesian languages, the name Moana means ocean. From a marketing standpoint, her name makes sense, but I'm surprised that it's something her parents chose in universe. When Chief Tui was younger, he attempted to sail beyond the reef with his best friend, but upon crossing the barrier, they met harsh waves. The waves destroyed their ship, and while Tui survived, his friend was lost at sea. Tui developed a fear of the ocean after this and forbade his people from sailing beyond the reef. Due to this experience, I'm surprised that Tui agreed to name his daughter after the ocean. However, it's possible they felt drawn to the name, as if Moana was destined to become a wayfinder from the start.
He took a canoe, Moana. He crossed the reef and found an unforgiving sea.
Number 4. A unique friendship. Aside from legacies and ancestral connections, Moana and the ocean forge a unique friendship throughout the films. If the ocean is sentient enough to forge bonds and have emotions, then it likely grew fond of Moana while watching her grow up. From the moment Moana could walk, she would find herself on the shore, desperate to see what the ocean could offer her. It's no surprise that they're kindred spirits, as they share the same outgoing spunk. The ocean, despite its ancient origins and vast knowledge, it doesn't hesitate to interact with Moana like they've known one another forever. The ocean will drench her if it disagrees with something, high-five in celebration, and save her from danger. There are few people who the ocean interacts with in a similar way. Occasionally, it may appear annoyed with Maui, which makes sense considering he is the one who stole Te Fiti's heart. It also interacts with Simia, showing her the underwater fish and bringing her messages from Moana, despite the sisters being miles apart. Still, these relationships pale in comparison to the ocean's friendship with Moana, which is a focal point in the franchise's narrative. If Moana once served as a means to an end, then she has now gained the respect of not only the gods but also the entity that connects everything together.
I thought it was a dream.
Number 5. Connected powers. Although the ocean has acted as a friend to Moana and attempted to help her throughout her many voyages, Moana remained an average human who had to work hard to achieve her goals. Without the strength, speed, and durability of a demigod, Moana risked life and limb when restoring Te Fiti's heart and saving Motufatu. Moana 2 clues the audience into the danger Moana will face on her latest adventure early on, as it was jarring to witness the film's protagonist brought to tears as she imagined her little sister growing up without her. The scenes of Moana preparing to say goodbye to her family and their home foreshadows her death later, as even she can't escape Nalo's wrath. When Maui fell from the sky, Moana didn't think twice about lunging from her boat and swimming to Motufatu's shores. She has to go several feet below sea level, an act that she may have drowned from if Nalo's lightning hadn't struck her first. Moana's hand barely skimmed the surface of Motufatu before her life was taken from her. She was fortunate to have lifted the curse in time, saving the people of the islands in the process. It was devastating to watch as Maui, joined by the ocean and her ancestors alike, mourned his best friend. For a brief moment, it seemed like Moana's story would end on her hard-won victory or during a funeral in Motunui. Instead, the ocean carried magic or perhaps Moana's soul through the water, past her ancestors and into Moana's waiting body. As Moana is revived as a demigod, I assume these powers came from the gods, but the ocean had the honor of delivering them to her. The nature of Moana's powers are left a mystery, although we get a glimpse of them before the credits roll. As Moana and her crew set sail from Motufatu, she reaches into the water. A shimmering light rushes from her boat into the distant horizon, like a path through the ocean. At a guess, Moana now has the ability to chart courses through the water, allowing her to safely navigate to distant shores. As this ability is directly connected to the ocean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a stronger connection in future films.
The ocean is a friend of mine. Hey.
While much of the ocean's origins remain unknown, its ability to forge meaningful friendships with mortals has shaped history. After Te Fiti lost her heart, humanity faced potential extinction, as none were able to outrun the darkness or reach other civilizations. In choosing Moana to save her people, the ocean not only saved the entire world, but made a lifelong friend. Now that Moana is a demigod, it seems that their adventures together are only beginning.
Moana, you can't.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
Maybe the ocean brought you to them because it saw someone who is worthy of being saved.